Oh, Captain, my Captain. We begin today's show. It is orange and blue today. It's Cecil Lammey. It's Andrew Mason. And oh, yeah, we're talking captains. And does Bo Nix really need to be a captain?
Well, if he is the leader that his teammates are saying he is, it's going to manifest naturally without necessarily having the C patch. I mean, there's a perspective that says if you're a rookie, you've got to earn it. At the same time, though, when you have some veterans, but it's still a youngish team, and if you're focused on the long term rather than the short term, maybe this is one of those things in which you say, if it's going to happen eventually, it should happen immediately, especially if teammates do vote for him as a team captain. That's the key. If his teammates say he's a captain, then he's a captain, even though he's a rookie.
Yes, and I think perhaps maybe this plays into it, maybe it doesn't, but the fact that he won the job so long ago, it's not that long ago, but still, it's not like this thing went down to the wire, you know, like, oh, today we learn, or Sunday against the Seahawks, we learn who's the starter. We've known for a while, and I think the players have known for a while, too.
I think the players have had an idea for basically the entire preseason. I think they knew where this was going even before that first preseason game. After the game in Indianapolis, I think they understood where this was headed. You know, we played the clips. We talked about what guys said in the locker room afterwards and how Bo Nix impressed them. So I think it's been building for a while. Even that preseason game in terms of how they handled the snaps. Remember, that was where Bo got the extra series with the first team offensive line. You knew all roads were going to lead to Bo Nix. What you needed was that moment of kind of realization where it was evident there in a game, in a joint practice, rather than just giving him the keys immediately. He had to earn it. He did. And I think that helped him earn the respect of his teammates as well. So to me, if the vote comes up, Bo Nix, forget about any notion, oh, he's a rookie. Bo Nix is your captain.
Yeah, if teammates want it, teammates should get it because Bo Nix is the future. He is the leader, and he's the player that the teammates believe in. But if we look at number of captains, I know with some teams it's a little bit different than it is with the Broncos. But let's talk about the history of this team and their selection of captains and just exactly how we're going to look to this.
First of all, I should tell you last year, C.J. Stroud was a Houston Texans captain.
Okay.
There
you go.
So if teammates vote for Bo Nix, you know, there's a little example there to kind of.
That's a good example, too.
Yes, exactly. So I went back through the last 15 Broncos seasons of captains, okay, going back to 2009. Basically, you know, they announced it on Twitter, and so you can do a kind of a quick Twitter search and look it up. Now, in 2 of the seasons, Vic Fangio didn't name season-long captains. They were game by game. So, like, Joe Flacco was not a captain. Drew Lock 2020, not a captain. But here's the interesting thing. In the other 13 seasons since 2009, in 12 of those, the starting quarterback to open the season was a team captain. The only exception was in 2016 when Trevor Siemian was making his first start. He wasn't a team captain. Okay. But what Gary Kubiak did was he named 3 captains in week 1, and he added 3 more captains at midseason. One of the captains added at midseason was Trevor Siemian.
Okay.
I believe after 7 starts, he was named a captain. But every other year, Case Keenum comes in, captain. Teddy Bridgewater comes in, captain. Kyle Orton came in and was a captain. Think about that for a moment.
Right. Well, when you said back to 2009, I was like, what? Orton year? He wasn't a captain?
Kyle Orton, he was a captain all 3 years he was with the Broncos.
Whew.
It was funny. He got benched in 11, and until they cut him, he was still walking out for the coin toss as the captain. I mean, it's obvious when it's someone like Peyton Manning, right?
Sure. Right.
But Kyle Orton never exactly regarded as an uber leader. I mean, you look back at like those 09, 2010, 11 teams and other guys that I would name, Champ Bailey, Brian Dawkins, Wesley Woodyard, they were also captains. Those guys were kind of leaders, right?
Yes, right.
You didn't think of Kyle Orton in that way, but he was captain. Trevor Siemian beats out Paxton Lynch, 2017, captain. So, again, these aren't rookies. The closest thing is Trevor Siemian. But what this is also telling you is there's pretty much a default to the quarterback as captain.
Yeah.
To where I'd say, and hey, Russell Wilson was a 2-year team captain. Think about that. Russell Wilson, not exactly the most respected person in the locker room last year, still a Broncos captain along with Mike McGlinchey, Cortland Sutton, Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, and Riley Dixon. So,
yeah. Russell Wilson kind of awkward. Bo Nix not. And I will say this, because we'll get out in front of it, Mace. If he's not a captain, I don't think it's a big deal.
I don't think it is either.
I expect it, but like if he's not, I'm not going to lose my. He's not even a captain. Like, okay, we'll see about that. I think he will be though.
I think he will be. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When was the last time you had a rookie quarterback who was a Broncos captain? John Elway wasn't an initial captain.
No. Jay Cutler wasn't a captain.
No. Jake Plummer was. Mm-hmm. And in fact, like when you're talking, and I'm looking on this list here, the last 15 years at all positions, what's missing is rookies. Rookie captains for the Broncos. This is not something the team generally does. Now, to start a season. Now, midway through 08, Wesley Woodyard became a special teams captain after being an undrafted rookie. And then Woodyard was a captain for the next he ended up being captain basically his entire time with the Broncos after they gave him the C-Pack midway through 08. But to start a season, man, the data gets a little sketchy through time, but I believe the last season opening rookie captain for the Broncos was Floyd Little, 1967. Wow. Think about that for a moment.
Holy cow.
If Bo Nix is a captain, the historical significance of him opening his rookie season as a captain in that it would put him alongside a guy literally nicknamed the franchise.
Yes. Wow.
To me, Floyd Little's on the Broncos Mount Rushmore. Maybe other players were better, but we're talking when I think of importance to the franchise. He
saved the team here.
Yes. I mean, he didn't so much save it as he legitimized it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it was the first common draft. He was the first legitimate, outstanding college player to come right to Denver. And he was a spotlight guy, even though he wasn't the number 1 overall pick. In 1967, that was the most famous player coming out of college, out of Syracuse, and he went to the Broncos.
Yep.
All of a sudden, of course, famously, he jokes about not knowing where Denver was, right? And then became so beloved around here. But think about that for a moment. In terms of opening the season as a captain, and then the idea that it may not have happened since Floyd Little if Bo Nix gets that'll take your breath away.
But
it'll remind you kind of the significance of what Bo Nix would have done if he is elected team captain to earn respect. And frankly, I think he will get those votes in the locker room based on what we're hearing from players over the last few weeks.
Yeah, players revere him and they follow him, so thus that they're probably going to vote him captain. My questions or my mind goes to two things, Mace. I don't want to make your fingers fly on your keyboard, but did Sean Payton mess around with his captains in New Orleans much? I wouldn't be aware of that. But then the other thing is, I wonder if those franchises that drafted a bunch of first-round quarterbacks, they just kept putting the C on them. You know what I mean? Like if you're Cleveland, did Johnny Manziel have a C? Did Tim Couch have a C? You know what I mean? If we think about their first round quarterbacks, like where were the C's at for other teams in terms of rookie quarterbacks? Because obviously what Bo Nix is doing outside of Jay Cutler, this first round quarterback, it doesn't happen very often around here.
Well, I think part of it is were they starting week one? Like Bryce Young was a Panthers captain last year as a week one starter. I mean, Johnny Manziel did not start out of the gates. It's a good question on
Brandon Whedon start. I can't remember so long ago.
No, but I don't think Tim Couch started week one. I believe that was Ty Detmer in 1999, who was the first starter for the revived Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's a pet cemetery rule. They violated that with the Browns. But yeah, so that's going back a ways. So, all right, rookie quarterbacks then. And then franchises who drafted a lot of first-round rookies. I don't know what intersects with that.
You know, it's gotten easier since they started having to put the patch on. Because, like, I'm looking to see, for example, David Carr, number 1 overall pick, 2002, Houston Texans expansion franchise. Here, hang on. See, now, it's always a great show when I start looking stuff up, right? All right. Here's one, like 2011 Carolina Panthers, number 1 overall pick, Cam Newton. Not a captain.
Okay.
Week 1 starter, not a captain. Their captains on offense were Steve Smith, Jordan Gross, the wide receiver, and the left tackle.
Okay. So if this was a Cortland Sutton's a captain again, Mike McGlinchey's a captain again.
Yeah, I think so.
Sort of scenario.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you want to just kind of parse it out here, and you have 3 offensive captains again, if Bo Nix replaces Russell Wilson, that's it. And I would be very surprised if McGlinchey and Court are not captains.
Right.
Defense gets interesting. Special teams is interesting. Now, special teams, it was Riley Dixon last year. Remember, Will Lutz came in really late. I would anticipate it's probably going to end up being Lutz as your special teams captain. That's a dude that, and you and I have seen this, he's earned an awful lot of respect in that locker room, as he did in New Orleans as well. Defense, this is where it's like we're turning the page to a new generation here. And I think, and this is why, like, it's a chance for, like, the Broncos to really go forward into a new era. Because here's the chance to say, Pat Surtain is the first-time captain. Bo Nix is the first-time captain. You can do that together.
Cornerstone franchise players. Then you move forward in a new chapter of Denver Broncos history. I like the sound of that.
Don't you think it was interesting that Kareem Jackson was a captain last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was Justin and Kareem, the 2 safeties, and now they're both gone. It's an opportunity to pass the torch to a new generation, team wide. Even though even though it looks like I expect you'll have Cortland Sutton, which would, by the way, be Court's 4th year as captain, if he earns that. McGlinchey's 2nd year as a Bronco captain, if he earns that. But the symbolism of having Bo Nix and Pat Surtain both being first-time captains, if that comes to pass, I think we mass it. Now, it's just interesting. How many do you name on defense? Because you got good I mean, there are some good candidates here. I think Zach Allen is a candidate. I think Jonathan Cooper is definitely a candidate. Alex Singleton's a candidate. Pat Surtain's a candidate. PJ Locke, I think, is in the mix too to be a captain on defense.
Yeah.
I wonder, I mean, there have been instances of teams naming 7 captains. In fact, the Josh McDaniels Broncos 09 and 10 had 7 captains each year. So 3 offense, 3 defense, 1 special teams might kind of make it work. But the big one, to me, the big kahuna of a captain on the defensive side would be if Pat Surtain gets it. That is,
he has to.
Yeah,
he has to get it.
And then like the notion of Bo Nix and Pat Surtain both being captains is like you're saying these are the two alphas. Like if we're going to get anywhere as a franchise, these two are going to lead us there.
Mm-hmm. Does that, and we're not agents, but we know agents, but would a C play into any sort of negotiations? With Surtain, with Cooper? I was thinking of Cooper specifically.
Yeah.
But it would mess with Surtain as well. Oh, we're a captain now. Okay. I mean, an agent will use anything. They'll use PFF grades as I spit all over my monitor. Like, they'll use anything. So is that something that the Broncos have to be cognizant of? Like, hey, this might cost us a little extra.
Yeah, but if the teammates vote on it and they vote for Pat Surtain, you can't. I don't think you would want to undermine
Why is Surtain not paid right now? Seriously, price is only going to go up
because they've got him locked in price wise for 2025 on the 5th-year option. So they have that in their back pocket. But the thing is, down the line, he becomes more and more expensive. I mean, look, if we're going to sit here and praise them for getting Quinn Miners done, and I believe he definitely deserved that contract.
For sure.
Then I think it's fair to have a critique for not getting Pat Surtain done. So why wouldn't you have Pat Surtain done? Again, it's like, okay, we can get to it after, this year because he's got the 5th-year option. There's that. There's also, does Pat Surtain want to do it just yet, or does he want to sit and wait a little bit? Because I think Pat Surtain, it's possible he may want, he says he wants to be in Denver. He's made that clear. But do you play it cautious knowing that your value can only rise, right? And the other thing, last year, if there was a good thing about not trading anybody at midseason, it meant that for the first time in a non-truly COVID-affected year in quite a while, you didn't trade a core player at midseason. I mean, think about what kept happening. 2018, Demaryius Thomas. 2019, Emmanuel Sanders. Nothing was happening in 20 because of you had to basically kind of go in isolation, and it killed the trade market that year. 2021, Von Miller. 2022, Bradley Chubb. The annual tradition of the Broncos during this QB carousel era, other than changing quarterbacks, was trading a core linchpin player at the deadline. So they didn't do that last year. But if you're Pat Surtain, you've seen it happen twice now. And it's rebuilding. So maybe some of the Broncos is just kind of keeping that in their back pocket in case things fail to launch in the next couple of months.
Well, and if you're Pat Surtain, you mentioned like keeping your options open. I would look no further than Bo Nix to figure out if they've got it right. Like, think of Justin, and we love Justin, but think of the frustration he must have had just like seeing guy after guy. Like, you believe your team, but it was like you keep trotting out your Joe Flacco's and Case Keenum's. Like, that doesn't work with Bo. Yeah. I think the sell to Pat Surtain, we got the guy. Now we're going to build around him. We're going to build around you, and you need faces of franchises, and you have two.
But if you're Pat, do you want to watch and see what Bo does first?
Yeah. Make sure it's real.
Yes. Good against remotes is one thing. Good against the living, that's something else. You've seen good against remotes in the preseason. Now you're about to find out against the living of a first-team defense like the Seattle Seahawks have that's going to throw everything at you tactically.
Mm-hmm. You better be ready.
This is going to be fascinating, this game. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. I'm sure we're going to get more into it as the week progresses. But how many times over the years we talked about facing a rookie quarterback and saying, okay, you have to confuse him. Well, now the Broncos have the rookie quarterback who opponents are going to try to confuse. How's that going to go? What kind, do you craft a conservative game plan to kind of keep things within reason, right? I think a big key for this team this year, Cecil, is going to be don't fall behind early.
Right.
Keep these games competitive. Don't be in a situation where you have to give up your game plan. You have to junk it and start being aggressive. That's not going to work for this team.
Yeah. Set it up, win close games, and be a tough out. I think that's kind of the formula for
Pardon me.
This year. And perhaps with Bo Nix as a captain, right?
Perhaps with Bo Nix as a captain. But yeah, it would underscore where the team is going. Like he's your leader. And of course, the thing is, with the great power comes the great responsibility. It also comes with knowing that Sean Payton is going to be on you. I saw this video earlier today because there were some Vince Lombardi videos out because it's the 54th anniversary of Vince Lombardi's passing.
Okay.
And one was Sonny Jurgensen, his quarterback in Washington. Of course, Lombardi's last coaching job was with Washington for the 1969 season before he became ill with cancer. And Sonny Jurgensen, Hall of Fame quarterback, tells the story about how Lombardi came up and said, "Look, I am going to ride you. I'm going to be hard on you. I'm trying to send a message to the team because you're the leader. And if I'm hard on you, I can be hard on anybody." Well, I don't think the Broncos committed to Bo Nix without knowing that Sean Payton could be hard on him. But that's what's going to happen. Like he's going to be in his ear. Like there are going to be some moments of frustration. They're going to come. Sure. It's all good feelings right now. But I think Bo Nix is cut from the timber where he can handle it, where he can handle being the leader and the flashpoint. The flashpoint being when Sean Payton gets upset, sometimes he's going to be getting upset at him because and we saw it in Detroit last year. What happened to Russell Wilson, right? Like in the heat of that moment, Mount Payton is going to erupt on the quarterback.
Yes, you're just going to have to take it. Now, Bo will be able to respond. Like
yes.
Wilson did his whole like positive, never had a bad day type of stuff. I think Nix would get pissed.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't yell back at his coach, but he'd respond.
Well, there's an edge, as you saw down in Mobile when you asked him about working under center. Like there's a, he's very even keel, but there is an edge to him, and I like that. I always say, if I don't see that you have that edge, I have trouble trusting you. Once I see that jagged edge, like, okay, I know I can trust that person. I know they're being real, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that was a real moment for Bo Nix. I mean, he didn't explode or anything like that, but it did.
He didn't like it.
He didn't like the notion. He didn't.
Right.
And you know what? He's actually starting to do really well. And you and I saw it in practice. He's getting really smooth under center, man.
Yep.
He has come a long way.
Yes, he has.
Especially since May. Like there were moments watching the preseason games, and it's like, man, you look like you've done this for years, and you've really only been doing this on a heavy basis for like 3 months.
For months.
Yeah.
Not years, months.
That's a real good sign when you see that level of progress that fast.
We've seen that in a few things that Bo does, which leads me to the like, what's it going to be in 4 weeks? What's it going to be in 8 weeks? What's it going to be in 2025? And I hate to say these names because people will take it the wrong way. But what you mentioned with Lombardi and Jurgensen is the same thing that Belichick did with Brady.
Yeah.
I'm going to dog cuss you in front of everybody so everyone sees like, oh, my God, he's cussing out him.
Nobody's immune. Nobody's immune from it.
Nope. Sean Payton. you can't be immune if you're on a Sean Payton team.
Well, that's the thing now. Like, it's his kind of team now.
It's his team.
It's his team.
Yep.
That's the wild. That's the wild thing. Here we are, a year in. I've said that before. I'll say it again. It really feels like the Sean Payton era starts on Sunday in Seattle. Last year was kind of this in between crossover on the Venn diagram moment. It really feels like the Payton era begins now.
Yep.
So
we'll be there for it all the way for you. And Mace, of course, should be out there in Seattle. So
yep.
We got
and
a
you'll be
big
doing
week.
the post-game show. So hopefully a happy post-game show.
Yeah, hopefully. So there you go. Hopefully we get your help out here on YouTube, on these old dusty plains of YouTube. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, we need your help. Mace, how can they help us out?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you
never
miss
vid.
That's right. He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying OBT's BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and stay frosty. Boom. Got it.